To me, I mean, just from what I see, he has all the traits and all the tools to be a superstar in this league. I think that, as he continue to play and get experience and, grow confidence and become more confident in his abilities and what he can do, he's going to be the next superstar in this league for sure.
I mean, we even saw that in his first full year last year when he started off 3-5 in his first 8 games and then went 7-4 in his last 11. His passer rating went from an 81.9 in those first 8 games to a 107.8 in his last 11. And the thing is, he is in line to get that next big quarterback deal. And the thing with teams, if you found your franchise guy, you are going to have to pay a franchise quarterback eventually. So if you believe he is your guy and the future in Green Bay, pay him sooner than later because the price tag's only going to keep going up.
I love this. So Josh Jacobs was with the Raiders last year, right? He's been with the Packers for 7 minutes. And he already sees that Jordan Love's going to be a super. I just love this from. And oh, by the way, I had to look this up. Jordan Love faced the Raiders last year. He was awful. One of his worst games of the season.
Was it in the first 8 games?
I'm not sure, but it was a night game, and he was terrible.
Okay.
So Josh Jacobs has seen Jordan Love. He was across the field watching him. And, oh, by the way, now I've seen him in camp. He's going to be a superstar. It's silly season.
Well, he kind of had a tale of 2 seasons. We had the graphic up just a second ago where he really struggled and was rocky out of the gates in his first 8 games.
So which is the real Jordan Love?
I would say last 11, once you start getting comfortable, it's your first full season in the NFL. There's going to be some growing pains. Okay. He sat behind Aaron Rodgers for years.
I like how you're positive. He was on the team for 3 years.
Yeah.
They knew what they had.
Yeah.
After 3 years of preparation,
but you sat
he comes
behind
out
Aaron Rodgers.
And basically poops
MVP.
his pants for 8 games. He did nothing.
It takes a moment to get ready.
I'm being
beat
negative.
the Cowboys in the wild card game. That was huge. And Cowboys were coming off, Dak was coming off an MVP caliber season.
Cowboys kind of beat themselves. They were awful. But listen, Love delivered. I know, I'm a hater. I'm not a hater. I like Jordan Love. I just don't love him as much as Alex and Colin.
Just saying, if you believe he is your guy, you're eventually going to have to pay him. And the market, as we were just talking about, across all sports right now, just going up. How many years? Again, too, Jordan probably, do you want to, retest the market again? Maybe get a shorter length deal?
I don't think Packers would.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he's better than Tua. Tua has a larger sample size of being good. Mm-hmm. I know he's had the injuries. Is it okay to say I don't know?
Yes.
I don't know if Jordan Love's going to be great.
Yeah.
Superstar, I can tell you, I definitely don't know that.
I don't know if anyone knows that yet, but there is a hope and a belief. Maybe that's why a contract hasn't been done yet.
That's fair.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's switch to the Giants, who committed to Daniel Jones with a huge contract extension last year, but they're still waiting for that deal to pay off on Hard Knocks offseason last night. Giants GM Joe Schoen said that the plan all along was to give Jones a couple of years, but now this year for Daniel, this is the year for him. They need to decide if he is the Giants' future or if they have to pivot and find someone else. Now, they made that decision last year when you chose to pay him over Saquon Barkley, and then you lost your best player in Saquon Barkley. The thing is, we already really, we know who Daniel Jones is. 2 years ago, he played great. Went 9-6. That's when they won their first playoff game since their Super Bowl win in 2011. But before he got injured last year, he went 1-5. Played in 6 games. Only had 2 passing touchdowns with 6 interceptions and a passer rating of 70.5 in those 6 games. I think they jumped the gun a little bit. Maybe his contract was a reaction to the season 2 years ago and just so happy that they had won a playoff game again. But last year was also a prove-it year.
Okay, you saw Moneyball, obviously, right?
Yes.
With Brad Pitt. Okay, so there was a scene where the guy who ended up playing he was into Jurassic Park movies. He's kind of a hunky dude. What's his name? I'm spacing on it. Chris Pratt. So Chris Pratt's playing Scott Hatterberg, who cannot feel ground balls.
Hunky guy.
And he's in the kitchen. I can't believe I said hunky. And David Justice, the actor playing Justice, comes over. He's like, "Oh, what's your biggest fear?" He's like, a ball being hit directly at me.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. That's what this feels like. This is the year. Daniel, you got this, Daniel Jones. Come on, buddy. You got this. This is your year, pal. And he knows, Daniel Jones, he looks spooked in the pocket. He's terrified. He's a fumble machine, horrible reads. Go watch that Seattle game.
Wait.
Last
Okay,
I mean,
I was like, is this the trip? Are we showing his trip?
Oh, yeah, that was embarrassing. But, like, he's not a good quarterback. It's okay to say that. It's okay. He's looks terrified.
He's shown you who he is.
He looks like when he drops back, he's like, I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to make a mistake. I'm afraid. And then he makes a mistake. Because when you're thinking like that, yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. But I definitely feel like they might have jumped the gun a little bit on that contract with him.
All right, Alex Curry with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And Colin obviously has a relationship with Draymond Green, so I've got to be a little delicate here with how I phrase this. But let's start with the positives, okay? The Golden State Warriors with the Splash Brothers and Draymond Green reshaped the way basketball is played in this country. They totally shifted the entire philosophy of the NBA into shooting threes. That is thanks to Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and yes, Draymond Green. It was a phenomenal era for Golden State, and now it's over. It's weird because in 2022, they won the championship, which really cemented this Golden State team's place. Steph Curry, all-time great. We knew he was an all-time great, but to win before they got Kevin Durant, with Kevin Durant, and then after, oh my gosh, these guys are legends. Steph Curry, for my money, is a top 12 player in the history of the sport. If I really got granular, I could probably get him in the top 10. Maybe we'll do that one day. But I just look at what's happened with this team, and I'm trying to pinpoint when exactly it became an unmitigated disaster. And I have to go back to 2022. They win the chip in 2022, June. It was incredible. Andrew Wiggins might have been their second best player in the finals. Jordan Poole had some moments that season in those playoffs. Steph Curry obviously was transcendent against the Celtics. I think he had a 43-point game. Just unbelievable stuff. And then October comes around, and you have the punch. Draymond Green punches out. It was a sucker punch. Sorry, guys. Nobody expects to get punched by their teammate at practice. Draymond Green sucker punches Jordan Poole. Now, Poole had been talking a lot of trash to him about some of it had to do with a contract. Draymond Green had been wanting a contract. He didn't get it. Everybody knew Andrew Wiggins was going to get paid, and Jordan Poole was needling him and taking some shots. Draymond punches him out. It's been all downhill from there. And I've charted this out. It's super depressing. But in October of 2022, Draymond punches out Poole. Later that month, the Warriors decide, hey, we're going to go ahead and extend Andrew Wiggins for 4 years. It was like, oh, that's eye-opening. Wiggins, okay in Minnesota, not really a number one pick. And he was very good in Golden State, but again, it was short-lived. We don't know how, I mean, Wiggins was great for a season, but is it 4-year deal? Okay, all right, got it. And after the punch, the team was just not the same. They were a train wreck in 2023. And that's when it was like, oh, is this the end of the Warriors? Does the dynasty? Hold up. Bob Myers made a big decision. Instead of tearing this thing down to the studs and rebuilding, I'm out. Bob Myers, largely the architect of those Warriors, said, I'd rather go to TV than be the guy who ends up trading Draymond or Klay. And Curry's very attached to those guys. Myers said, I don't want to do it. He ends up on TV at ESPN, like talking about the NBA. Okay? He did not want to tear it down. They all know what happens when you tear down the dynasty, and we'll get to that in a second. So after the season, they end up shipping Jordan Poole to the Washington Wizards for Chris Paul. Okay, I said at the time, terrible deal. You had to kind of move on from Poole. It wasn't working with Draymond, but they got like nothing in Chris Paul. He's old. He's always injured. Guess what? He was injured with the Warriors. And now they lose him for nothing. It essentially, according to Warriors beat writers, that trade of Jordan Poole, he was a salary dump. Jordan Poole, a guy who looked like I don't know if a foundational piece, but a key cog in those Warriors teams as they transition out of Curry and Klay into the next generation. Now, you can also toss in a big, huge whiff on James Wiseman there at the top of the lottery. Just an absolute disaster. Wiseman has been a bounce around the league guy already. So everything's kind of going sideways. And then they extended Draymond. They gave Draymond a 4-year deal. And it's like, at that point, it's like, what are we doing? Draymond's stats, I mean, technical fouls, disruptions. And, I mean, it's just continued to snowball. Then you get to Klay, and Klay's like, well, you gave Wiggins 4, you gave Draymond 4, I need 4 years. Which is a reasonable ask for Klay, who, I mean, he was part of the Splash Brothers. He could get a statue in front of the Chase Center. He helped build that thing. He helped line the pockets of Joe Lacob and the owners of the Warriors. And the new GM, Mike Dunleavy, who's a former Warriors player, is like, can't go to 4.